Hi all, and welcome back to yet another episode of Selectors. So we've seen a lot of ways of making our selectors dynamic and intact. We have covered so far CSS selectors, fuzzy selectors, regular expression in selectors, and today we'll be covering how do we achieve an auto increment selector so that if there's anything or any selector which is just getting auto incremented or some of its values just getting incremented by some amount, so then how do we cope up that scenarios? Many a time you will face this thing in web automation or while doing SAP automation, that there's a table and the rows are filled maybe till 6th row or 7th row and it's dynamic, it's not fixed, and you have to fill in the value in the next empty row and things like that. So once you get this concept, you will be able to overcome all such scenarios. So without further ado, let's quickly get into the demo. So I'll show you a site or an example of what we have to achieve. So this is the site, and suppose you have to extract in the IDs of all the elements that are available. So how are we going to achieve that? So first of all, we'll have to analyze the selector or analyze the HTML attribute or the DOM structure of the page and how it is behaving. We have to analyze that what are the things that are getting changed and how is the change occurring. So we just indicated that element, and if we see, so we see that it's indicating that, okay, the column is 2, which means that this column is being treated as first column and this column is being treated as second column. Okay. And if we see the properties pane, so we see if we include this raw thing, so that will help us a lot. If we validate this thing and we see if the selector is saying row 2 and column 2, so what is it actually indicating? So it's indicating the first row, which means that the header is being treated as the first row, and so this is being treated as a second row. So if we just keep on incrementing the row number, I think we'll be able to achieve what we actually want to. So now there are two things. The first thing, that if we switch on to the next page, it could be that the row starts from 1 and it could be the row starts from 5. If the row starts from 5, then we just have to keep incrementing the counter and we'll be able to reach to the next row. But what if the row does not start from 5? So then we know that whenever the counter reaches 4 or whenever the row number reaches 5, we have to again make the counter 0 or we have to again make the counter 1. So like this, you have to analyze the small things and the behavior of the page. So let's see whether the row is 1 or whether the row has been resetted to 1 or it's 5. So from ID, it's somewhat clear that it will be 5, but obviously that's not something we can be sure of. So, but yeah, we see that it's just getting incremented even though the page is getting changed. Now, one more thing to notice is you'll have to validate this thing and see that when I am on this page, like when I have reached second page, is it validating the data of the first page or not? So if I just make the row name to be 2, is it validating? Let's see. So it's not validating. Okay. So we'll have to make this tweak in our code also, and we'll see how we are going to do it. But before that, when I say that we have to keep incrementing the table row counter, so it means we must have an ending point when we have to stop incrementing it anymore. And how can we achieve that? For that, we must know that how many rows are exactly present as of now on the web page. And for that, we're going to do data scraping. So data scraping would just tell us an end counter that, okay, here you have to stop. So that when we keep on incrementing, we know that at what we have to stop. So yeah, I want to extract the whole table. I get it here. Okay, and I click on finish and it says, is data spanning multiple pages? Yes, the data is spanning multiple pages, and we indicate on next. Okay. So we've got it here. We've got the data table. Let's just, assign, sorry, not assign, or we can, yeah, even do this assign thing. And we'll just drag in a right line to see what are the number of rows which are present. Let's just stop this highlighting to avoid confusion. Yeah. So we take a row counter. Okay. And here we'll say extract data table dot rows dot count. Okay. And here we're going to write row counter dot toString. We'll change in the data type from string to integer, and we'll change the scope of this thing to data scraping to selectors. Okay. So this we are just doing to have the number of count of the rows, that how many rows are present. Once we have the count, we'll then move towards incrementing, that how do we extract or iterate over each row to extract the desired details we want to. Okay, so we see that there are 12 rows. Okay, let's see the output. Okay, it's still executing. So let's wait for us to get the output. Okay, so it's 12. Now let's see how do we iterate. So now because we have the data table, so for each row, so see, one thing what you can easily do is you can just iterate over the data table and extract, but that is not something we desire. We'll see that how do we play around the selectors. As for now, I'll be showing, yeah, so we can do just drag in for each row data table. We've got the data table and the work could be done like that. But what if the data table is not returning us the exact thing? So then how do we do it? If we have to find selectors of the next row, then obviously the data table thing is not going to work, but you would know what would be your next selector. I am trying to say that suppose there is a table in SAP of 10 rows and 4 rows are filled and the other 6 rows are not filled. So when you do this data scraping, you will be only able to extract the first 4 rows and not the other rows which are empty. So your task is to fill in the next row which is empty, to fill in the data in the next row which is empty. So when you do data scraping, you would get in the 4 rows. So now you know from the 5th row, I can start entering data. So that can only be achieved if you keep incrementing the row counter and you make a selector which indicates to the next empty row. Only then you'll be able to enter in the data in that empty row. So for that purpose, I'll not be extracting the values directly from the for each row and iterating on the data table. Instead, I'll be making a selector out of it and then iterating the thing or extracting the data. Okay. So what we're going to do, we'll be using a loop. Okay. So suppose we use while loop, or we can even use do while loop. Let's use do while loop. Let's see if this thing works or not. Okay, let's drag in and assign to make a selector. Okay, if I talk about selector, so our column would be same and we'll have to just increment in the row name. So we copy this whole selector. We go here and we paste the selector here. Okay. So yeah, here we go. Okay. And we name it ID selector. Okay. And we're going to create a counter variable And because the first row indicates the header, and we don't have to extract the header, we just have to extract the value. So that means our counter has to start from 2. We can even start it from 1, but then we'll have to increment it initially. Okay, and now instead of this row name, we'll be passing here the counter value. So we'll create a variable and we'll name a, okay, so we already have the variable created, so we'll not be doing this. Instead, we'll just pass in so our variable name is counter, so we'll say counter. So one way is this, and the other way, there is also another way possible. So one way is this, other way is this, that we write in single quotes, then we write in double quotes, and then we directly mention in the our variable name. So the curly braces thing is what you have already seen previously in the video, but this is also one way of declaring the variable in your selector. So it has to be always a string variable. It cannot be an integer or something. So because counter is an integer variable, I have converted it to string. So this is also another way of having variable in your selector. Okay, so we have made the selector. Now what we have to do is we can pass the selector to a get text. So if we use get text, okay, yeah, here we get it. Okay, let's drag in this get text selector, and to this we're going to pass. So instead of passing the selector, we'll be passing a variable. So we say ID selector. We'll extract the value and we'll name it ID value. We'll drag a right line maybe, or a message box. Let's drag in a message box, and we'll say display as the ID. Sorry. We'll say display as the ID and ID value dot to, okay, it's already string, so no need of this. Okay. And once it's done, so we have extracted the first selector, the first row. Post this, what we're going to do is we have to increment the value of the counter so that it picks up the next selector. So we have incremented the value by 1. And we also know that once the counter reaches, so this is row 2, this is row 3, and this is row 4. If I'm not wrong, let's see. You'll have to be very sure on these things so that you know on what parameters you have to make a decision. Yeah, so it's row name 4. Sorry, it's table row 5 and row name 4. Okay. So yeah, this is something which I've just noticed. So you can make it work both the ways. Either you use table row and it has to be 5, or either you use row name. Okay. So we were using table row. Okay. So let's remove this row name, but we can obviously use this as well. So it's indicating. Okay. If I make this table row 2 and I go to the next page, so it must indicate me the first row which is present here, which is the 5th one. Let's see if it's indicating or not. Yes, it is indicating. Okay. So the decision point here is that as the counter reaches, so we are starting from 2. So 2 is the first row. 2 is the first row, then this is 3, then this is 4, and then this is 5. So as the counter reaches 5, okay, then what we're going to do is we will be setting the value again back to 2, and we'll move on to the next page. So we'll say as the counter reaches 5, or not counter reaches 5, because it will first be 2, it will extract the value, it will make it 3, and then it will increment it. Yeah, so we can, this is something which we'll have to do then here above this. Okay, because once it's 5, okay, yeah. Okay, let's do it. We'll debug it and see. We'll have to make the counter back to 2. And along with that, we'll also have to click on this next thing so that it now moves on to the next page. So along with this, we'll also have to do this thing. So we'll drag in a click here and we will indicate next. Okay, but you cannot keep doing this thing. Why? Because at 12, when the value reaches 12, you have to stop also. So these are the few points which you have to keep in mind while doing this thing. Suppose if you're very sure that the page number will always be 3, so that can also be treated as a breaking point, that when the click on next has been performed 2 times, then this has to stop, or when you've extracted 12 elements, then it has to stop. So there must be some breaking point wherein you have to stop. You cannot just let the loop run endlessly. Okay. So that is also something which one has to decide by seeing or analyzing the workflow. So because we have extracted the data table and we know that the counter cannot exceed 12, but also to notice here that we are resetting the counter. We are not letting it reach 12. Okay. So we'll have to identify that whenever the click on next has been performed twice, it has to stop, and things like that you'll have to figure out. So if I drag in a counter here and I say next counter and it's an integer value, so the default value is 0. If I don't even write it, it is 0. And I say increment the next counter by 1. Okay. So then once click is performed one time on next, it will become 1, and again it is performed, it will become 2. So that will be an exit point, you can say, for the loop. So we'll say, okay, we'll have to increase the scope of next counter. It's only to this selector. So we'll just increase the scope. Okay. And we say that the condition here is that till it's less than, okay, yeah, so till is less than equal to 2. So that's the condition. Okay. There could be something which we are missing, or maybe some condition which we are placing wrong, and we'll get to know about that in a moment. So let's click on run and see. Okay, so this is, I have shown you, but there's no need of this thing. I've just shown it to you because, yeah, there could be some need. So it totally depends on the scenario. And let's try running it maybe in debug mode so that we are aware of the conditions. Okay. Or I'll put a breakpoint here, it's better. Okay. So I've got the first ID with me here and the counter would be incremented. If I just go back and I see, so it's ending with 7BG. Okay. So yeah, it's not picking up this ID because of the thing. I must have taken that table row thing instead of this thing. So we have two things here, table row and what's the other thing, row name. So I must have taken the other thing in the selector. I'll just check. Yeah, so I've taken row name here, but I have to instead take, oops, I have to take this thing because that's how I have incremented the counter and I've chosen the counter. So yeah, that's it. Okay, I click on run again. Okay, and I now get this thing, WR6 as the first ID I have in here. I click on OK, and now the counter would be incremented by 1, and it would become 3. And now if I click on execute, I get in the second ID. Now the counter would become 4, and I'll get in the fourth ID, which is this. And now the counter would become 5, and I'll not be able to get the last ID. Okay. So this was the condition I was talking about. So it has to be if counter is greater than 5 and not counter is equal to 5. So on all the pages, I'll be missing the last ID, but that's okay. We have got to know that what actually we're doing wrong. So yeah, it's okay. Now, if I go inside, the condition would become true and it would click on next. And it would now start extracting the IDs from the next page. Okay. So we get in 1 RP. Just remove this counter, go back here and click on continue. And we have got this 1A, and now we're getting the ID ending with GF. And now the last ID would be missed because we have made some issue in the condition, and which we know now. So it's ending with 5C. Now we'll be getting an ID ending with XE, and now we'll be getting an ID ending with AG. And now the program has to stop. Okay, there is one more next. Okay, okay. And it has stopped. Okay. So this is how you can make use of the auto incrementing selectors in your use case to help you. So the only thing which we were doing wrong is we have to make this that if counter is greater than 5 so that the last row is also extracted, and next time when it goes, it increments the counter and it gets the counter becomes 6. And now when it comes back and it says 6 is greater than 5, which is true. So it will then click on next to move to the next page. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching the video, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Happy learning.